brought to you by Soundlibra.com. You can find a direct link to our full library in the description of this audio, or visit us anytime at Soundlibra.com. Welcome to The Integrity Code, building a life you can be proud of.
And I'm Lisa. We're diving deep into living with integrity today.
Before we dive in, a quick note that while we're discussing mental well-being and personal growth, this isn't professional medical or mental health advice, so be sure to consult with a professional for your specific needs.
That's an important reminder. So, beginning with the basics, how do we define it?
Integrity means being whole, aligning your thoughts, words, and actions. It's being true to yourself and your commitments.
So, more than just being honest, it's about consistency?
Exactly. Honesty is key, but integrity is the framework. Think of honesty as a brick and integrity as the wall. It's your internal compass, guiding decisions when no one is watching. It's the bedrock of self-respect and a life well lived.
A well-built wall. So, why is this the foundation for a life we're proud of?
Because without integrity, achievements feel hollow. A life with integrity has a solid foundation, leading to self-trust, confidence, and inner peace. It's the difference between faking it and truly being it. Pride comes from knowing you acted according to your deepest values.
That makes sense. Internal consistency builds external peace. So, for this first episode, what's our starting point?
Our starting point is commitment, the spark that says this principled life is important to begin. But commitment needs understanding. So, we're introducing a personal integrity audit.
An integrity audit? That sounds intense.
It's simpler than it sounds. Think of it as an honest inventory. Look in the mirror, see yourself clearly, and ask, are my actions reflecting who I want to be? It's about identifying any gap between your values and your behavior.
So, we need to know the state of our foundation. We must be honest about our current habits and how they align with our beliefs.
Precisely. It's self-awareness, not self-criticism. It's the crucial first step in creating our map. It means noticing small daily choices. Did you keep a promise? Speak kindly? Take the right way or the easy way?
It's easy to overlook those small things, telling ourselves they don't matter. But you're saying they're part of the foundation?
Absolutely. Those small stuff moments are the building blocks. They are micro choices that either reinforce or erode integrity. Consistently cutting corners in small things builds that habit. Conversely, integrity in minor details becomes ingrained, preparing you for larger challenges. Integrity is shown in the mundane as much as in the monumental.
So, the audit is an ongoing practice, fostering self-awareness.
Exactly. And it requires honesty with yourself, which is often the most difficult. We're masters of self-deception, rationalizing our behavior or avoiding close examination.
I've definitely done that. Oh, I was just stressed, or everyone else does it.
Those are the things to gently acknowledge during the initial audit. It's about understanding patterns, not dwelling on mistakes. This episode plants the seed of commitment to this process, recognizing that a life of pride needs a foundation of integrity, which starts with honest self-reflection.
To recap, we're starting the Integrity Code by understanding integrity as the bedrock of a life to be proud of, the alignment of your inner self with your outward actions. Our starting point is commitment, followed by an honest, personal integrity audit to assess where we stand. This involves looking at everyday choices and being honest with ourselves about our justifications.
You got it, Lisa. This self-awareness is the essential first step. It's the unvarnished truth that lets us build something strong and lasting, guiding us toward a life we can look back on with pride, knowing we live true.
It sounds like a powerful beginning. We're laying the groundwork for living integrity, starting with ourselves.
Precisely. In our next episode, we will delve deeper into what that self-audit looks like in practice, moving from awareness to action, exploring how to walk the talk and align our actions with our deepest beliefs.
That sounds fascinating. I'm looking forward to it.
Next episode, your personal integrity audit, the honest mirror. Welcome back to the Integrity Code. Last time, we explored the foundations of living with integrity. Now, let's get practical.
Episode 2 is titled Your Personal Integrity Audit, the Honest Mirror. It's about seeing where you truly stand.
Think of your life like a house you need to maintain. An integrity audit is an inspection of your inner self, checking if your actions match your deepest values.
That sounds intense. How do we even start looking without getting overwhelmed?
The absolute first step is identifying your core values. What principles are non-negotiable for you? What kind of person do you aspire to be? Honest, kind, responsible.
So, it's like creating a personal compass. What guides you when no one is looking?
Precisely. Reflect on moments when you felt most proud or most regretful. What values were you honoring or violating in those situations? That's often a clear sign of your true principles.
That makes it feel more real, connecting it to actual experiences. Once we have that list of values, what's the next step in the audit?
Now, you examine your actions. In specific situations, big or small, ask, did my actions reflect my core values? This is where you look honestly at your behavior.
This is where I might discover discrepancies, like valuing honesty but telling white lies to avoid conflict.
Exactly. That's the point, to become aware of those disconnects. It's not about perfection, but about understanding the impact of those white lies. Do they truly prevent harm, or do they erode trust?
So, it's about noticing the subtle deviations. Are there specific life areas we should focus on during this audit?
Yes, break it down. Consider your personal relationships, your work or studies, your community, and how you treat yourself. Are you consistently truthful and dependable in all these areas?
That's important. It's easy to think it's okay to be a bit flexible in one area, but not another.
Integrity requires consistency. It's about being the same person with the same principles everywhere. Also, look for your blind spots, areas where you're not aware of your behavior, or you're avoiding seeing it.
Blind spots are the scariest. How do you uncover those?
It takes courage. Think about feedback others have given you. Are there recurring criticisms that might hold truth? Sometimes, asking a trusted friend for honest, constructive feedback can be invaluable.
That definitely requires humility, admitting you don't have all the answers and might be missing something about yourself.
Humility is key. This audit is an act of self-respect, choosing to see yourself clearly. It's about facing the truth, even when uncomfortable, to understand, not to shame.
So, the goal isn't self-punishment, but clarity about where we are now, so we can decide where to go.
Precisely. This is your reconnaissance mission. Identify values, examine actions, look at different life domains, and bravely face blind spots. This creates an unvarnished picture of your integrity.
And this clear, honest reflection is the crucial first step to building a life you're proud of.
Without knowing your starting point, you can't chart a course. This awareness is the fertile ground for growth. We've identified values, examined actions, and peered into blind spots.
To recap this episode: 1. Identify core values. 2. Examine actions for alignment. 3. Consider different life domains for consistency. 4. Bravely face blind spots. It's all about holding up that honest mirror.
Well said. This is an ongoing process, but this initial audit gives you critical self-awareness, your starting point. And that knowledge is power.
Power to change, grow, and live more authentically.
Exactly. Next episode, we'll move from awareness to action with walking the talk, aligning actions with beliefs. Welcome back. Last time, we audited our personal integrity. Now, let's align actions with beliefs.
We performed an honest mirror audit of our personal integrity, Alex, and really dug deep to understand our core values.
That's right, Lisa. It was a powerful exercise in self-awareness. Now, we move to perhaps the most critical part of building a life of integrity, walking the talk. It's not enough to know what's right. We must actively do what's right. This episode is all about aligning our daily actions and decisions with those deeply held beliefs we uncovered.
This sounds like the bridge between intention and action. So, Alex, how do we ensure our everyday lives reflect those values we identified?
That's the question, Lisa. It requires a conscious, ongoing effort. Think of it like this. Your values are your destination, and your actions are the steps you take on the journey. If your steps aren't pointing towards your destination, you're going to get lost.
I like that analogy. So, we need to be mindful of every step.
Exactly. It starts with small, consistent choices. If you value honesty, for example, walking the talk means choosing to tell the truth, even when it's uncomfortable or might lead to immediate negative consequences. It means not exaggerating, not omitting crucial details, and not misleading others.
Even in those little white lies we sometimes tell, like saying you love a gift when you don't, or pretending to be busy to avoid a social engagement.
Those are precisely the kinds of situations where integrity is tested. If honesty is a core value, then saying, thank you, but it's not quite my style, or I'm actually booked that evening, is the congruent action. It might feel awkward initially, but it's a step in the right direction. Each small instance builds a habit of authenticity.
So, it's about building a track record of consistency. When we talk about integrity, we're talking about being predictable in our goodness, in a way, right?
That's a fantastic way to put it, Lisa. Predictable in our goodness. And that predictability builds trust. When people know that your words and actions are aligned, they can rely on you. They know what to expect. Conversely, when there's a disconnect, trust erodes very quickly.
I've certainly seen that happen. When someone says they'll do something and then doesn't, or promises to be on time and is habitually late, it chips away at your confidence in them.
Precisely. And this isn't just about external perception, it's deeply internal too. When our actions align with our values, we experience a sense of inner peace and self-respect. We feel good about who we are and the choices we're making. But when we act against our values, even in small ways, it can create internal dissonance. It's like an alarm bell going off inside, telling us something is wrong.
That internal alarm bell is a good reminder. So, what practical strategies can we employ to help align our actions with our beliefs?
One powerful strategy is to create a personal code or set of guiding principles. For each core value you identified, say, courage, kindness, or diligence, ask yourself, what does this value look like in action day to day?
Okay, so if one of my values is kindness, how would I translate that into specific actions?
For kindness, your code might include things like listen attentively without interrupting, offer help to a colleague without being asked, speak gently to family members even when frustrated, or make a conscious effort to see the good in others. These aren't grand gestures, they're everyday practices.
That breaks it down really well. It makes the abstract concept of kindness something tangible that we can strive for in specific moments.
Another strategy is to pause before making decisions, especially significant ones or those where you feel temptation. Ask yourself, does this choice align with the person I want to be? Does it reflect my core values? This brief pause can be incredibly effective in redirecting us.
That's like a mini integrity check, a moment to consult that internal compass.
Exactly. And for those moments when you do slip up, because it will happen, and that's human, the practice of walking the talk also includes owning it. If you realize you've acted against your values, acknowledge it. Apologize sincerely if necessary, and commit to doing better next time. This is not about perfection. It's about persistent progress.
So, integrity isn't just about always getting it right, but about how we respond when we get it wrong.
Absolutely. The path to integrity is often paved with our efforts to correct course. It's about that internal shift, moving from simply knowing what's right to the consistent, deliberate act of doing what's right. It requires cultivating self-awareness, developing clear guiding principles, and practicing mindful decision-making.
And we're building this not just for ourselves, but for the trust and authenticity it fosters in our relationships and our community. It's all interconnected.
It truly is. When we walk the talk, we become a more reliable and inspiring presence in the world. It's the foundation upon which strong relationships and a meaningful life are built. Remember that image of the destination and the steps? Your actions are the steps, and your values are the destination. Ensure your steps are always leading you closer to who you aspire to be.
So, to recap, walking the talk means consistently aligning our daily actions and decisions with our core values. We've discussed making conscious choices, translating values into specific actions, using pauses for reflection, and the importance of owning our missteps. It's about building that predictable goodness that fosters trust, both externally and internally.
You've got it. We'll explore the subtle, yet powerful, arena of integrity in the small stuff in our next episode.
Next episode, Integrity in the Small Stuff, the Power of Micro Choices.
Welcome back. Last time, we explored how to conduct a personal integrity audit and the importance of aligning your actions with your core beliefs. Now, let's tackle integrity in the small stuff, the power of micro choices.
That's such a crucial point, Alex. We often think of integrity as these big, dramatic moments, but Dr. Evelyn Reed emphasizes that integrity is built brick by tiny brick through our everyday decisions.
Exactly, Lisa. And Dr. Reed has a fantastic way of putting it. She says, integrity isn't a destination. It's the path you walk one tiny step at a time. Think about it. Are you someone who returns your shopping cart, even when no one's looking? Do you make sure to send that thank you note after a job interview or a kindness received? These are micro choices.
Those seem so insignificant, don't they? It's easy to dismiss them. But I can see how, if you consistently do those small things, it builds a picture of who you are. So, it's not just about grand pronouncements of honesty, but consistent, even mundane, displays of it.
Precisely. And Dr. Reed calls these integrity triggers. They're the small, everyday opportunities to either uphold your values or let them slide. Are you going to be 5 minutes late for a casual meeting, or will you be on time? Will you tell a small exaggeration to make a story more interesting, or will you stick to the facts, even if they're less dramatic?
I love the term integrity triggers. It makes it so tangible. It forces us to see that every interaction, no matter how brief, is a chance to practice integrity. So, if someone asks you to do something small like pick up a specific item at the store and you say you will, actually doing it, even if it's inconvenient, that's a micro choice reinforcing your word.
That's a perfect example, Lisa, and the cumulative effect is enormous. When you consistently follow through on these small commitments, you're not just building a reputation with others. You're building something even more important, self-trust. You start to know that you can rely on yourself.
Self-trust. That's a powerful concept. I think many of us struggle with that. We might make promises to ourselves to go to the gym, to read more, to eat healthier, and then we let ourselves off the hook. Those are micro choices too, aren't they? Choosing comfort over commitment.
Absolutely. And Dr. Reed warns that neglecting these small promises to ourselves erodes that self-trust. It can lead to a feeling of powerlessness, as if we're not really in control of our own lives. But the flip side is incredibly empowering. When you start honoring those small commitments to yourself, your belief in your own ability to get things done grows.
So these micro choices are like training wheels. They prepare us for bigger challenges. If you can be trusted with the small things, you're showing yourself and others that you can likely be trusted with the bigger things.
That's exactly the foresight Dr. Reed offers. She believes that mastering integrity in the small things builds the muscle memory for integrity under pressure. When a major ethical dilemma arises, and there's a significant temptation or consequence, your ingrained habit of being honest and reliable in daily life will be your default response. You won't have to suddenly invent integrity. You'll have been living it.
That's really comforting to hear. It makes the idea of integrity less daunting. Instead of waiting for a crisis, we can actively cultivate it every single day. What are some other common areas where these micro choices of integrity play out?
Well, think about your words. Are you being mindful of gossip? Do you speak kindly about people, even when they're not around? Or are you contributing to negativity? Being truthful, even when it's difficult, is a micro choice. Choosing to listen actively and empathetically, rather than just waiting for your turn to speak, that's another.
And it's not just about what you do, but how you do it, right? Like if you're asked to do a task at work and you agree, you don't just get it done. You do it with a good attitude, with thoroughness, and without complaining. That extra layer of care and professionalism is a micro choice where integrity shines through.
That's a fantastic point, Lisa. It's about the spirit in which you do things, too. It's the difference between simply fulfilling an obligation and going a little above and beyond because you value doing things well and honorably. And this, Dr. Reed emphasizes, subtly influences others. They observe your consistency. They might not consciously think, they're being so integrity driven about returning their coffee cup, but they absorb it. They see reliability.
It creates this atmosphere of trustworthiness around you. People feel more at ease, more confident in dealing with you because they have a history of seeing you demonstrate that micro-level integrity. It's like a subtle, but powerful form of influence.
Absolutely. And she brings up the idea of how we handle minor inconveniences or mistakes. Did you accidentally bump into someone's parked car and leave a note? Did you take too much change by mistake and point it out to the cashier? These aren't huge acts, but they speak volumes about your character.
It's about leaving things better than you found them, even in these minuscule ways. And I can see how if you let these small things slide, it's like a slippery slope. If it's okay to take an extra napkin, is it okay to take an extra pen? Is it okay to fudge your time card by a few minutes?
You've hit on the danger, Lisa. Dr. Reed calls this integrity drift. Small compromises, made repeatedly, can gradually shift your moral compass without you even noticing. That's why being vigilant about these micro choices is so important. It's not about being perfect, it's about being mindful and making conscious choices aligned with your values consistently.
So, to recap, today we've talked about how integrity isn't just for big moments, but is profoundly built through everyday, seemingly small actions and choices. These micro choices, like keeping small promises, being mindful of our words, and handling minor inconveniences with honesty, are crucial. They build self-trust, prepare us for larger challenges, and subtly influence those around us.
Exactly. And the key takeaway from Dr. Reed is that mastering integrity in the small stuff acts as a powerful foundation. It's about consistently demonstrating reliability and honesty in the little things so that when life presents you with bigger integrity tests, you're not starting from scratch. You've already built that inner strength and that habit of integrity.
It makes the whole concept feel much more achievable and actionable for our listeners. Thank you for breaking that down, Alex.
My pleasure, Lisa. So, to all our listeners, start looking for those micro choices today. How can you bring a little more integrity to the small things in your life? Next episode, confronting tough truths, facing your blind spots. Welcome back to the Integrity Code. Last time, we explored the power of micro choices and how consistently doing the small things right builds a strong foundation of integrity. Today, we're diving into a particularly challenging, yet crucial, aspect of living an integrity-driven life, confronting tough truths and facing our own blind spots.
That sounds intense, Alex. So, we've been talking about building integrity, but what happens when we realize our current path, or even our own character, isn't as aligned with our values as we thought? It's like looking in a mirror and not liking the reflection.
Exactly, Lisa. Think about it. Throughout this series, we've emphasized self-awareness and honesty. But true self-awareness means being willing to see and accept things about ourselves that might be uncomfortable, even painful. These are our blind spots, the areas where our perception of ourselves doesn't match reality, or where we're unaware of how our actions impact others.
Blind spots. I like that metaphor. Like when you're driving and you can't see what's in the mirror beside you. You think you're clear to change lanes, but there's actually a whole car there.
That's a perfect analogy. Our behaviors, our assumptions, our biases, these can all create blind spots. And if we don't acknowledge them, they can lead us off course, potentially causing harm to ourselves and others, despite our best intentions. So, the first step is acknowledging that these blind spots exist. Can we all truly say we're perfectly self-aware? Probably not.
So, how do we find them? It's not like there's a little red flag that pops up over our heads saying blind spot ahead.
The primary way is through honest feedback and observation. Remember our personal integrity audit from episode 2? That's a continuous process, not a one-time event. We need to actively seek out trusted sources of information. This could be close friends, family members, mentors, or even colleagues who are willing to be candid with us. When they offer feedback, especially if it's critical, it's our first opportunity to peek into a potential blind spot.
But that's hard. My first instinct might be to get defensive, right? To explain away their feedback or dismiss it.
Absolutely. That's the natural human reaction. Defensiveness is often a sign that we're bumping up against a blind spot. When someone says, you tend to interrupt people, and your immediate thought is, no, I don't, I just get excited, that's a red flag. Instead of defending, we need to practice what we call radical listening. That means truly hearing what they're saying without judgment and asking clarifying questions. What specific situations are they thinking of? How did my behavior make them feel?
Radical listening. I can see how that would help. So, it's about slowing down and asking, is there any truth to what they're saying? Even if it stings.
Precisely. And it's not just about what others say. We also need to pay attention to patterns in our own lives. Are you frequently finding yourself in conflict with certain types of people? Are you consistently experiencing similar negative outcomes in different situations? These patterns can be strong indicators of a blind spot in your approach. For example, if you've had multiple jobs where you ended up feeling undervalued and leaving on bad terms, it might be worth exploring your role in those dynamics, rather than just blaming the employers.
That makes sense. It's like seeing a recurring theme in a story and realizing you're the protagonist who keeps making the same mistakes.
You've got it. And this leads to the second tough truth. We must be willing to admit when we're wrong. This is linked to integrity because integrity is about alignment. If we acted in a way that contradicted our values or caused harm, integrity demands that we acknowledge it. This isn't about dwelling in guilt, but about owning the reality of our actions.
Admitting mistakes, that feels like the opposite of always being right or always being strong. And it's definitely not easy.
It takes a remarkable amount of inner strength and humility. Admitting fault isn't a sign of weakness. It's a profound act of integrity. It shows you value truth and accountability more than your ego. When you mess up, and we all do, the integrity-driven response is to say, I messed up. I'm sorry. It's simple, but incredibly powerful. And when you do this, you allow yourself to learn and grow.
So, discovering your blind spots is an active process involving feedback and self-reflection. And then, when you find them, or when you know you've made a mistake, the integrity code demands you own it.
Exactly. And this willingness to face uncomfortable truths is the fertile ground for genuine growth. When we acknowledge our imperfections, we can begin to address them. It might mean developing new skills, changing ingrained habits, or shifting our perspective. This process is fundamental to building resilience.
Resilience. That's something we'll likely talk more about, especially when things get tough, right? It feels like confronting these truths makes us more resilient, not less. Because if you can handle the tough stuff about yourself, you can handle a lot of other things too.
You've hit on a key point, Lisa. By facing our blind spots and admitting our errors, we become more robust. We're less likely to be derailed by criticism or setbacks because we already know our own weaknesses. We're not pretending to be perfect. We're striving to be authentically us, which includes our flaws. This authenticity builds trust, both with ourselves and with others. And this is directly connected to what we discussed in episode 4 about the power of micro-choices. Each honest self-assessment, each admission of error, is a micro-choice for integrity.
It's like peeling back layers. You think you're just getting your house in order, but you're actually discovering hidden rooms, some of which are a bit dusty, but you can then clean them up.
And once those rooms are clean, your whole house is that much better. Now, let's quickly recap the core ideas of today's episode. We've discussed that facing tough truths and acknowledging our blind spots is a vital part of integrity. We find these blind spots through seeking honest feedback and observing patterns in our lives. Critically, we must be willing to listen without defensiveness and to admit when we are wrong. This process, though challenging, builds resilience, authenticity, and ultimately, a stronger character.
So, it's not just about being good. It's about being aware of where we might be falling short and having the courage to fix it. That's a lot to think about.
It is, but it's essential work. And this commitment to honest self-assessment lays the groundwork for the next crucial step, setting your personal code of conduct. How do you solidify these insights into a guiding principle for your life? We'll explore that and more in our next episode, where we'll be discussing the unwavering commitment to setting your personal code.
Setting your personal code. I'm looking forward to that.
And we'll see you then. Welcome back to the Integrity Code. Last time, we confronted our blind spots.
It's essential for a clear reflection. So, where are we now?
We're focusing on unwavering commitment by setting your personal integrity code.
Setting your personal integrity code. That sounds really important.
Exactly. Think of it as your personal compass. This code guides you through life's pressures and decisions.
So, it's about having defined guidelines, not just good intentions.
Precisely. These are consciously chosen commitments to yourself.
How do we actually define this code? It seems overwhelming.
First, revisit your core values. What truly matters to you? List them out. Remember, these are the foundational beliefs that shape who you are.
Okay, I have my values. How do I turn them into a code?
Second, translate values into actionable principles. For honesty, a principle might be, I will always strive to speak the truth, even when it's difficult. This makes your value concrete and provides a clear directive.
If my value is fairness, a principle could be, I will treat everyone equitably, ensuring equal opportunity and consideration. This makes fairness a practice, not just a concept.
Perfect. For responsibility, a principle could be, I will own my commitments and follow through on all my obligations. This emphasizes accountability in action.
It's like a personal manifesto using I will. These are strong, declarative statements of intent.
Yes, it's a personal vow. Third, challenge your principles against your blind spots. Does this principle help you address past shortcomings or weaknesses? If you tend to avoid conflict, a principle like, I will address issues directly and constructively, actively works against that tendency. This makes your code a tool for self-improvement.
So, if I tend to procrastinate, a principle like, I will start tasks promptly and manage my time effectively directly counters that habit. This sounds like it's building resilience.
You nailed it. This code becomes a tool for growth. Now, how do we make this commitment unwavering? This is where the real work begins.
That's the key question. How do you make a commitment stick, especially when life throws curveballs?
Fourth, make your code visible and accessible. Keep it in a place where you'll see it often, on your phone's lock screen, a note on your desk, or even a shared document. This constant reinforcement acts as a reminder of your intentions.
So, it's constant reinforcement, a physical anchor for your commitments. It's not something you just think about once and forget.
Precisely. Fifth, practice and refine. Your code is a living document, not set in stone. As you navigate life, you'll encounter situations that test your principles. It's a chance to learn and grow.
So, if I struggle with a principle, like speaking the truth when it might cause temporary discomfort, that experience isn't a failure, but an opportunity to reflect on how to better uphold that principle next time.
Exactly. We aim for progress, not perfection. Unwavering commitment means choosing your code even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. It's about deciding beforehand how you want to respond to challenges.
This is the real test when the easy path differs significantly from your established code. It's choosing integrity over expediency.
Indeed, external pressures will test this. If honesty might cost you something, perhaps a perceived advantage or a good impression, will you still choose it? Your code is your internal judge.
It requires self-awareness and discipline, built over time. It's actively choosing to honor your code, even when no one is watching. This builds a strong inner foundation.
That's forging your character. So, to recap today's episode on setting your personal code and strengthening your commitment, first, revisit your core values to understand what truly matters. Second, translate those values into clear, actionable principles using positive I will statements. Third, challenge your principles against your known blind spots to ensure they promote growth. Fourth, make your code visible and accessible for constant reinforcement. And fifth, practice and refine. Remember, your code is a dynamic tool for continuous improvement.
And the core message is that unwavering commitment means choosing your code even when it's difficult or inconvenient. It's your reliable compass when navigating pressure.
It's your anchor, your internal structure. This commitment forms the bedrock of a life you can be proud of. In the next episode, we'll explore integrity under pressure, navigating stress and temptation.
That sounds critical. My guess is that's when our commitment is truly put to the test. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Thanks for joining us. Welcome back to the Integrity Code. Last time, we solidified your personal code and made that unwavering commitment. Today, we're talking about integrity under pressure, navigating stress and temptation.
That sounds like the ultimate test, Alex. It's one thing to have principles when things are calm, but what happens when you're stressed, rushed, or tempted by a shortcut? That's when it gets challenging.
Exactly. Life throws curveballs. We face deadlines, unexpected problems, and opportunities that seem too good to pass up, even if they bend our rules. This is where our internal foundation gets tested.
So, how do we prepare for those moments? It feels like anticipating a storm and building a stronger shelter.
That's a great analogy. The first step is awareness. Recognize your personal pressure points and vulnerabilities. What situations tempt you to compromise? Is it a tight deadline? Fear of disappointing someone? The lure of gain? Understanding your triggers is like knowing the weak spots in your shelter.
That makes sense. If I know I get flustered when overloaded, I can anticipate wanting to take shortcuts. So, once I'm aware, What next?
Next is building your internal resilience. This ties back to our earlier episodes on personal integrity and having a clear code. When you're under pressure, your default response kicks in. If your default is to adhere to your principles, that's what you'll do. If your default is to seek the easiest path, you'll likely take it. So, it's about strengthening that default to be the ethical one.
How do we strengthen that ethical default? Is it just willpower?
Willpower is part of it, but not the whole story. It's about establishing practices that reinforce your commitment. For instance, when you feel pressure mounting, take a pause. A literal pause. Step away for a moment, take a few deep breaths. This brief interlude can disrupt the immediate urge to react impulsively and give you a moment to reconnect with your values.
A pause. That sounds so simple, but I can see how powerful it could be. In the heat of the moment, we often just react.
Precisely. And during that pause, ask yourself a critical question. Is this decision aligned with my personal integrity code? Will I be proud of this choice later? Sometimes, the temptation is to think about immediate relief or benefit, but looking down the road, how will this choice sit with you?
That's a good reminder. It shifts focus from the short-term win to the long-term impact on our self-respect. What about specific temptations, like exaggerating a success or blaming someone else for a mistake?
For those specific temptations, it's about having pre-planned responses or integrity anchors. Let's say you're tempted to blame a colleague for a project delay. Your integrity anchor might be a commitment to owning your part, however small, and focusing on solutions. So instead of saying, it was Kevin's fault, you might say, there were some challenges with the timeline, and I'm working on how we can get back on track.
So, it's like having a script ready for difficult conversations or decisions.
In a way, yes. It's about having a clear, ethical fallback position. Another powerful tool is to visualize the consequences of compromising. Imagine yourself later regretting the decision, feeling that gnawing sense of guilt or shame. Conversely, imagine the positive feeling of having stayed true to yourself, even when it was difficult. Our minds are powerful. We can use them to reinforce the right path.
That visualization of the negative aftermath is quite compelling. It's like a mental rehearsal of regret.
Exactly. And on the flip side, you can also visualize yourself successfully navigating the challenge with integrity. Seeing yourself handle it with grace and principle can boost your confidence when a real situation arises. It primes you for success.
So far, we've talked about awareness of triggers, building resilience, taking pauses, asking ourselves tough questions, and using integrity anchors. What about when pressure comes from external sources, like a boss demanding something unethical or peer pressure from colleagues?
That's a significant challenge, and it often requires courage. When faced with demands that conflict with your integrity, communicate your stance clearly and calmly. Sometimes a simple, I'm not comfortable doing that because it goes against my principles, is enough. Other times, you might need to explain your reasoning, focusing on the long-term risks or ethical implications.
And what if that doesn't work? What if they push back hard?
This is where bravery comes in. It might mean seeking support from a trusted mentor, HR department, or even considering the implications for your continued employment if the situation is severe. Standing firm, even when it's hard, can set a powerful example.
It sounds like integrity under pressure is less about being perfect and more about having robust strategies for when we falter or are challenged.
Absolutely. We will all face moments where we don't handle things as well as we'd like. But for today, the focus is on building that internal strength and having practical tools to navigate the storm. It's about developing the habit of pausing, questioning, and anchoring yourself to your code, even when the temptation to deviate is strong.
So, to recap, when operating under stress or facing temptation, we need to be aware of our personal triggers, build our inner resilience by reinforcing our ethical defaults, create space with pauses, ask ourselves if our actions align with our code, and use pre-planned integrity anchors for common challenges. We also need to be prepared to communicate our stance and, if necessary, stand firm even when facing external pressure.
That's a fantastic summary, Lisa. It's all about proactive preparation and conscious choices, even when our immediate instincts might pull us in another direction. By practicing these strategies, we make integrity not just an idea, but a living, breathing part of our actions, especially when it matters most.
It's about making our integrity code robust enough to withstand the elements.
Exactly. And that resilience we build under pressure doesn't just stay with us. It affects how others perceive us, building trust and authenticity. We'll explore how that influences others soon.
This has been incredibly practical. I feel much better equipped to face those challenging moments now.
Wonderful. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Next episode, integrity in relationships, building trust and authenticity. Welcome back to the Integrity Code. We last discussed maintaining integrity under pressure. Today, let's explore integrity in relationships.
Our connections with others are where personal integrity truly shines. How we show up matters immensely.
Absolutely. At the core is building trust and authenticity. These are the bedrock of any strong connection. Trust means safety, knowing others have your best interests at heart.
And authenticity is about being your true self with those people. Not putting on a front, but allowing them to see the real you. It's about being genuine.
Exactly. To build that, we apply the same principles, honesty. This means not just avoiding lies, but being truthful even when it's difficult.
That's often the hardest part. It feels easier to gloss over things, or tell a small lie to avoid conflict. But integrity isn't the easy path, it's the right one.
Precisely. Those small omissions can chip away at trust. If someone realizes you haven't been upfront, they may question what else you're holding back. So, honest communication is paramount. We communicate openly and with transparency.
So it's about being transparent, letting others see our intentions clearly.
Yes, and this ties into reliability. When you say you'll do something, you do it. If you commit, you follow through. Reliability shows others your word has weight.
This is crucial in friendships and family. If you're always canceling or not returning calls, people stop relying on you. That erodes the foundation, like building a house on sand.
That's a great analogy. And to circle back to authenticity, being reliable isn't about perfection. It's about honesty when you can't be reliable. If you have to break a promise, the integrity is in communicating that, explaining, and making amends. It's about owning your commitments.
I think the most challenging area for authenticity and trust is vulnerability. We often want to appear strong, but true connection comes when we allow ourselves to be seen in weaker moments.
You've hit on something important. Vulnerability is often mistaken for weakness, but in relationships, it's courageous and builds intimacy. Sharing your struggles and receiving empathy deepens the bond. It signals, I trust you with my whole self.
So, it's not just honesty when things are good, but being honest about challenges and inviting support. That builds trust that someone will be there when you truly need them.
Exactly. Open, honest communication, reliability, and vulnerability lead to authentic connection. When you can be yourself, flaws and all, and be accepted, that's a meaningful relationship. You're not performing, you're just being.
And these strong connections, built on integrity, have a wonderful ripple effect. When we're in relationships where honesty and trust are paramount, it inspires us in other areas of our lives.
Absolutely. It's a virtuous cycle. Your integrity in existing relationships can give you confidence to approach other interactions with high standards. And as we'll explore more, these strengths can inspire those around you to live with greater integrity. It's about living your code consistently.
So, to recap, integrity in relationships means building trust and authenticity. This is achieved through honest communication, reliability, and embracing vulnerability. All of these demonstrate a consistent commitment to your personal integrity outwardly.
Well said. Building authentic and trusting relationships is about living a life of integrity that positively impacts the people closest to us. This is the essence of living a life you're proud of.
And it sets the stage perfectly for our next episode, where we'll look at why integrity is so vital in the workplace.
That's right. We'll discuss professional conduct, ethics, and maintaining integrity in the professional world. Join us next time as we continue our journey with the Integrity Code. Welcome back. Last time, we explored how integrity in our personal relationships builds deep, trusting connections. Now, let's tackle the workplace.
That's right, Alex. So many of us spend a significant portion of our week at work. Applying our integrity principles there isn't just about being a good person, it's crucial for professional growth and a healthy work environment.
Absolutely, Lisa. When we talk about integrity in the workplace, we're really talking about a few core things: professionalism, ethical conduct, and honest communication. These are the pillars that support a strong professional reputation.
Let's break that down. What does professionalism look like when you're thinking about integrity?
Professionalism is about showing up in every sense of the word. It means being reliable, meeting deadlines, and taking your responsibilities seriously. It's about respecting your colleagues' time and contributions, and conducting yourself with a sense of purpose and competence. Think about it. If you consistently deliver on your promises and approach your work with diligence, you're demonstrating professionalism.
So, it's not just about wearing the right clothes or speaking formally. It's about your actions and your commitment to your role.
Exactly. And integrity elevates that professionalism. It means doing your job to the best of your ability, even when no one is watching. It's about resisting the temptation to cut corners or take credit for someone else's work. When you have integrity, your professionalism is genuine, not just a performance.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, what about ethical conduct? That sounds like it's at the heart of integrity.
It absolutely is. Ethical conduct in the workplace means adhering to a set of moral principles and values. This often goes beyond just following company policies, although that's part of it. It's about making choices that are morally right, fair, and just, even when it's difficult or unpopular.
Can you give us an example? What's a common ethical dilemma someone might face at work?
A classic example is witnessing a colleague misrepresenting data to impress a client or supervisor. An ethical person, guided by integrity, would feel compelled to address that, perhaps by speaking to the colleague directly or, if necessary, reporting it through the appropriate channels. It's about choosing honesty and fairness over personal gain or avoiding conflict.
That can be really challenging, especially if the person you're reporting is your boss or a high achiever in the company. The fear of repercussions is real.
It is, and that's where building a strong personal code, which we discussed in earlier episodes, really comes into play. Knowing what you stand for helps you navigate those tough situations. Remember episode 6, where we talked about setting your personal code? That code becomes your compass when faced with these ethical dilemmas. It's not about being a whistleblower for the sake of it, but about upholding a standard of truth and fairness.
Right. So, acting ethically means doing the right thing, even when it's hard. And that ties into honest communication, doesn't it?
Precisely. Honest communication is fundamental to building trust in any professional relationship. This means being truthful in your interactions with colleagues, supervisors, and clients. It's about speaking openly and clearly, and also about being a good listener, receptive to what others are saying.
When you say truthful, does that mean you always have to say exactly what's on your mind, even if it might hurt someone's feelings?
That's a great clarifying question, Lisa. Integrity in communication isn't about brutal honesty that causes unnecessary harm. It's about being sincere and transparent, while also being tactful and respectful. For instance, instead of blurting out, "Your idea is terrible," an integrity-driven approach might be to say, "I appreciate the effort you put into this idea. I have some concerns about its feasibility based on X and Y. Perhaps we could explore some alternatives like Z." It's about delivering the truth constructively.
So it's about framing the message with care, ensuring it's truthful, but also delivered in a way that maintains respect and encourages collaboration.
Exactly. And this applies to giving and receiving feedback. When you offer feedback, be honest about what you see, but frame it in a way that helps the other person grow. When you receive feedback, listen with an open mind, even if it's critical. Integrity means being willing to hear the truth about yourself and your work and using it for improvement.
This sounds like a recipe for building a really solid reputation, one of trustworthiness and competence.
That's the exact outcome. When you consistently demonstrate professionalism, ethical conduct, and honest communication, you build a reputation that precedes you. People learn they can rely on you, that you'll do the right thing, and that you're a person of your word. This is invaluable in any career.
And I imagine this reputation has a direct impact on career growth.
Oh, undoubtedly. Employers and leaders are always looking for people they can trust to represent the company well and handle significant responsibilities. Someone with a track record of integrity is far more likely to be considered for promotions, challenging projects, and leadership roles. It's not just about what you know, but about your character and how you conduct yourself.
It's like building a strong foundation. You can't build a skyscraper on shaky ground.
A perfect analogy, Lisa, your integrity is that strong foundation. Even when faced with complex or stressful situations at work, and we'll tackle that more in a future episode, your integrity code acts as your anchor. It helps you make decisions that align with your values, even when external pressures are immense.
So, to quickly recap for our listeners, integrity in the workplace boils down to three key areas: professionalism, which is about reliability and competence; ethical conduct, meaning doing what's right; and honest communication, which involves truthfulness delivered with respect. Consistently applying these principles builds a reputation for trustworthiness and opens doors for career advancement.
You've got it. And as we move forward in the series, we'll see how these workplace applications connect to broader themes of impact and personal pride.
That's definitely something to look forward to. Next episode, we'll be talking about what happens when integrity is tested and how to repair breaches.
An important topic indeed. Join us then for episode 10, Repairing Breaches, when integrity is tested and how to rebuild. Welcome back. Last time we explored workplace integrity and ethical conduct.
That's right, Alex. We discovered that consistent ethical behavior forms the bedrock of trust. But sometimes, despite our best intentions, we falter.
Exactly, Lisa. And that brings us perfectly to today's episode. We're diving into what happens when integrity is tested, when we fall short, and crucially, how we can begin repairing those breaches. This is episode 10, Repairing Breaches, when integrity is tested and how to rebuild.
This is such a vital topic, Alex, because nobody is perfect. We're human, and humans make mistakes. The important thing is not if we mess up, but how we handle it when we do.
Absolutely. So, let's start with the first and perhaps hardest step, admitting we've made a mistake. This means acknowledging that our actions or inactions didn't align with our integrity or our commitments. It's about confronting the truth, even when it's uncomfortable.
And this is where the honest mirror we talked about in episode 2 really comes into play, isn't it? We have to look at ourselves without excuses and see where we went wrong. Instead of blaming others or external circumstances, we take ownership.
Precisely. Ownership is key. It's a recognition that I did this, not this happened to me, or this was partially someone else's fault. When we own our mistakes, we empower ourselves to fix them.
So, after admitting the mistake to ourselves, the next step is often communicating it to those affected. And that leads us to the power of a sincere apology. What makes an apology truly sincere, Alex?
A sincere apology isn't just saying, I'm sorry. It's a verbal commitment to acknowledge the harm caused and express genuine remorse. It involves understanding the impact of your actions on others. A truly sincere apology often includes specific details about what you're apologizing for. For instance, instead of a vague, I'm sorry for what happened, it might be, I'm sorry that my words made you feel unheard and disrespected in that meeting.
That makes such a difference, doesn't it? It shows you've thought about it from the other person's perspective. You've moved beyond just excusing your behavior to understanding its consequences.
Exactly, Lisa. And a sincere apology rarely includes the word but. I'm sorry, but usually negates the apology entirely. It shifts blame back to the person who was wronged. We need to leave those excuses at the door.
So, first, we admit the breach to ourselves, taking full ownership. Then, we offer a sincere apology that acknowledges the impact on others, without justifications. What comes after the apology, Alex?
After the apology, we need to demonstrate accountability through action. This is where we actively work to repair the damage caused or to prevent the mistake from happening again. This might involve making amends, offering reparations, or implementing new processes.
This is the practical side of rebuilding, isn't it? It's not enough to just say sorry. We have to show we're committed to doing better. This could mean taking on extra tasks to compensate for a missed deadline, or actively listening and incorporating feedback to improve future interactions.
And it's about being transparent. If you've committed to a change, communicate that. Let people know what steps you're taking to ensure the situation is rectified and that the breach is not repeated. This builds confidence that you are serious about your commitment to integrity.
This process of repair, especially rebuilding trust, can take time. It's rarely an instant fix. The people who were affected need to see consistent effort and change over time.
That's a crucial point, Lisa. Trust is like a delicate sculpture. It takes effort and time to create, but it can be shattered with a single careless act. Rebuilding it requires consistent, patient effort. Think of it like tending a garden. You can't just plant a seed and expect a full bloom overnight. You need to water it, provide sunlight, and patiently wait for it to grow.
That's a wonderful analogy, Alex. And it's not just about rebuilding trust with others, but also rebuilding trust with ourselves. When we fall short of our own standards, it can erode our self-respect.
Absolutely. When you've acted against your own integrity, it can create internal conflict. The process of admitting, apologizing, and taking responsibility helps resolve that conflict. It reaffirms your commitment to your values and helps you regain your own confidence. This is about the strength found in vulnerability. It's an acknowledgement that we are fallible, but capable of growth and redemption.
So, to recap what we've discussed today, when integrity is tested and breached, the path forward involves several key steps. First, admit the mistake to yourself and take full ownership. Second, offer a sincere apology that acknowledges the harm caused without excuses. Third, demonstrate accountability through concrete actions to repair the damage and prevent recurrence. And finally, understand that rebuilding trust with others and with yourself is a process that takes time and consistent effort.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. And remember, these breaches, while painful, can actually become powerful opportunities for growth. They test our commitment to integrity, and in overcoming them, we often emerge stronger, more self-aware, and more resilient.
It teaches us resilience, and it reinforces the value of our integrity code, not just when things are easy, but especially when they are profoundly difficult.
Indeed. And this leads us to our penultimate episode, where we'll explore the far-reaching impact of living with integrity, the ripple effect it has on those around us, and how we can inspire integrity in others. Think about it. How does your commitment to integrity influence the people and the environment around you? That's what we'll unpack next time. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Integrity Code. We're now in episode 11.
It's great to be back, Alex. We've spent the previous 10 episodes really exploring what integrity means for us personally, from checking our actions and aligning them with our beliefs to understanding the impact of even the smallest choices. We've also covered how to handle pressure and how to rebuild when things go wrong.
Absolutely. And in this episode, we're going to explore something truly powerful, the ripple effect of living with integrity. It's about how our personal commitment to integrity doesn't just stay within us. It extends outwards, influencing everyone we interact with.
That makes so much sense. It's like dropping a pebble into a pond. The ripples spread far beyond where the pebble first landed.
Exactly. So, let's talk about how your integrity impacts your family. Think about the principles you're living by. Are you demonstrating honesty, fairness, and commitment in your interactions with your spouse, your children, or other family members?
When we're honest, even about difficult things, it builds a foundation of trust. Children, especially, are incredibly perceptive. They learn what's important by watching us. If they see us being reliable, keeping our promises, and admitting when we're wrong, they're more likely to adopt those same values.
Precisely. It's not just about what we say is important. It's about what we do. Imagine a parent who consistently shows up for their child's events, who is dependable, and who speaks truthfully. That child learns firsthand what it means to be a person of integrity. Now, contrast that with a parent whose words and actions rarely align, who makes excuses, or who isn't truthful. The lessons learned are vastly different, aren't they?
Oh, completely. The negative example can create a cycle of distrust or a skewed view of relationships. But a positive one can foster genuine connection and security. So, the integrity we cultivate at home really trains the next generation. What about in our communities, Alex?
The community is another vital arena. When you consistently act with integrity, whether it's volunteering for a local cause, being a good neighbor, or participating ethically in local governance, you contribute to a more trustworthy and functional community. People start to recognize you as someone reliable, someone who can be counted on.
That builds social capital, doesn't it? When people trust each other, they're more willing to cooperate, to lend a hand, and to work together to solve common problems. It strengthens the fabric of the community.
It does. And this extends to our professional lives as well, which we touched on briefly in episode 9. In the workplace, your integrity can inspire your colleagues and even your superiors. When you're honest in your dealings, punctual with your commitments, and ethical in your decision-making, you set a benchmark.
It's true. It can create a more positive and productive work environment where people feel safer being transparent and accountable. It discourages the kind of backstabbing or corner cutting that can poison a workplace.
And it's not just about avoiding negative behavior. It's about actively fostering positive behavior. When others see you consistently rise above opportunities to compromise your values, even when it might seem easier or more profitable in the short term, they're likely to ask themselves why. This can spark introspection in them.
So, for others, our integrity can be a guidepost. It shows them that there's another way to operate, a way that might be harder initially but ultimately leads to more meaningful results and better relationships.
Exactly. It's about principled leadership, even if you don't have a formal leadership title. Every one of us has the potential to influence those around us through our example. It's through these consistent actions that we become living examples of the values we hold dear. This is the true ripple effect.
It's almost like a form of silent influence. You're not necessarily lecturing people, but your actions speak volumes.
Precisely. And sometimes that's the most powerful form of influence there is. Now, remembering what we discussed in episode 10 about repairing breaches, if you have experienced a lapse in integrity and you've taken steps to repair it, that itself can be a powerful lesson for others.
Yes, seeing someone own their mistake, apologize sincerely, and make amends demonstrates a profound level of integrity. It teaches that perfection isn't the goal, but rather the commitment to learning and doing better.
It shows that integrity isn't about never falling, but about how you get back up. When you can demonstrate that vulnerability and commitment to honesty, it can inspire trust in ways that a perfect record never could. It's about showing up authentically, even with our imperfections.
So, to recap this powerful idea, our commitment to integrity creates a ripple effect that touches our families, our communities, and our workplaces. By living our values consistently, we set a positive example, build trust, and silently influence others towards more principled behavior. And even when we stumble, our commitment to honest repair can be a source of inspiration.
That's a fantastic summary, Lisa. This outward influence is a natural consequence of building a life rooted in integrity. It's the culmination of all the work we've been doing.
It really is. It moves us from focusing inward on our own code to seeing how that code can illuminate the path for others.
Next episode will be our final installment. We'll be tying it all together, discussing how to integrate everything we've learned into a life you can truly be proud of.
Living a life you're proud of, that sounds like a perfect conclusion.
It certainly is. Join us for episode 12, Living a Life You're Proud of, the integration of the code. Thanks for listening. Today, we're integrating the integrity code into your everyday existence.
Welcome back to the Integrity Code. We've reached our final episode together.
We've explored the foundations of integrity, how to audit our own honesty, and the vital practice of aligning our actions with our core beliefs. We've examined the power of small choices and the courage it takes to face our blind spots. We've even discussed how to set a personal code and navigate the toughest pressures.
And we've looked at integrity in our closest relationships and our professional lives, even how to rebuild when things go wrong. In our last episode, we talked about how living with integrity creates a powerful ripple effect, inspiring those around us.
Exactly, Lisa. And today, we're bringing it all together. We're going to talk about what it truly means to live a life you're proud of by fully integrating this code into the fabric of your everyday existence. We're talking about true integration, a holistic view of building that life, and a powerful call to action.
So, after all these weeks of deep dives, how do we actually make sure all these lessons stick? How do we consolidate this into a lifestyle rather than just a series of interesting ideas?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's about moving from understanding to embodiment. Think of it like learning to play a musical instrument. You can read all the sheet music and understand the theory, but until you practice those scales, those chords, day in and day out, until your fingers move almost automatically, you're not truly playing. Living a life you're proud of is the same. It's about consistent, conscious practice.
So, it's not a destination, but a continuous journey?
Precisely. The integration of the integrity code isn't a one-time event. It's a daily commitment. It's about making choices, big and small, that consistently reflect your values and your agreed-upon personal code. It's about that honest mirror we talked about, not just checking it occasionally, but looking into it every single day.
And the courage to face what we see, even when it's not perfect. That was our discussion about confronting tough truths.
Absolutely. And that courage is what allows for genuine growth. When we integrate our code, when not striving for perfection, but for progress. We acknowledge our missteps, as we discussed regarding repairing breaches. We learn from them, we apologize when necessary, and we recommit to our path. This ability to rebound, to learn and adapt, is a hallmark of a life lived with integrity.
It sounds like it requires a lot of self-awareness. We touched on that throughout the series, but how do we hone that specifically for integration?
Self-awareness is the bedrock. Integration requires us to constantly check in with ourselves. Are my actions today aligning with the commitments I made? Am I being honest with myself and others in this moment? Are my motivations pure? Or are they being clouded by ego, fear, or desire? These are the questions that keep the code alive and integrated. Imagine your personal code as a compass. Self-awareness is how you regularly check that compass to ensure you're still heading true north.
I like that analogy. So, consistent practice, embracing progress over perfection, and a high degree of self-awareness. What else is key to truly living this integrated life?
Authenticity. True integration means that there's no separation between who you are in private and who you are in public. Your actions are a genuine reflection of your inner self. This is what builds deep, unshakable trust in your relationships, as we explored, and it's what earns you respect in the workplace. When you're authentic, you're not putting on a show, you're simply being.
It's about showing up as your whole self, the good and the well, the parts we're still working on.
Exactly. And this authenticity, this consistent demonstration of your values, is how you create that ripple effect we discussed. When people see you living your integrity code consistently, it not only inspires them, but it also makes them feel safe and secure around you. They know what to expect, and they know you'll act in accordance with your word. That's the power of integration. It makes your integrity a reliable, tangible force in the world.
So, for someone listening to this, our final episode, what's the immediate, actionable step they can take to start or deepen this integration?
Choose one area of your personal life, your work, or a specific relationship, and commit to a focused integrity audit this week. Go back to our discussion on the honest mirror. Set aside time, perhaps just 15 minutes, to honestly assess your actions in that one chosen area. Are you aligning with your values? Are you keeping your commitments? Are you being a person you can be proud of in that specific context? Identify one small, actionable change you can make tomorrow.
One small, actionable change. That feels manageable. And then, I suppose, we review that change at the end of the day or the end of the week and repeat, perhaps focusing on another area or deepening the work in the first one.
You've got it. It's like building a muscle. You start with a manageable weight, you focus on form, and with consistent effort, you gradually increase the load. Our integrity muscles work the same way. This series has provided the blueprints, the tools, and the motivation. Now, it's up to each of us to build. It's about intentionally designing a life that you can look back on at the end of your days and feel a profound sense of pride. A life where your actions, your words, and your character were in harmony.
And that, Alex, is the ultimate outcome of living by the integrity code. It's not just about avoiding wrong. It's about actively building right. It's about a life well lived, a life that resonates with purpose and authenticity.
So this is it. Our journey through the integrity code has reached its natural conclusion. We've armed you with the knowledge, the strategies, and the encouragement to build a life you can be truly proud of. Remember, every choice, every interaction is an opportunity to reinforce your code. Keep practicing, keep reflecting, and keep living your truth.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible series. We hope it has been profoundly impactful for you.
It has been an honor. Thanks for listening to the series.